Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Shemiah Shai by Shemra Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. To the Akims on the four corners of the earth, teaching His truth, risking their lives each and every day on the highways and the byways. The brothers and sisters tuning in for edification, coming with another lesson. And this lesson is always examine yourself and check yourself. Always examine yourself and check yourself. And when you come into this truth, it's very important to examine yourself. You have to make sure you're on point. Especially trying to go to another brother and you're not on point. You have to definitely test your character, Because if you don't test your character, then you'd be considered like a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? So it's very important to test your character. And these are the things we have to do to prove, within ourselves, And you have to ask why, but you have to go to Yahweh Shemiah Shai to give you that guide, to guide you, through this. You know what I'm saying? And you have to also come with a humble spirit in this situation. So like I said, you got to examine yourself, which is always good, first before you go to another brother, So I want to go to Matthew chapter 7, verse 1, starting off. Judge not that ye be not judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye should be judged. And with what measure ye should meet, it should be measured to you again. Verse 3, and why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thy own eye? Yeah, because basically you want to make sure that you're on point first before you go to another brother, And for example, if you are doing something, that is going off, and it might be something particular, it might be something, kind of similar to what the other brother is doing, you can't go to him and say, hey, you going off when you're doing the same thing. So you have to make sure that you're not doing that, And that's why you have to come at all times. No matter what situation it is, you got to come very humble. You got to come with a lonely, spirit, And that's what the Most High likes, Verse 5, jumping down to verse 5, Matthew chapter 7, verse 5. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thy own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother eye. Yeah. Whatever topic that you come at your brother about, you want to make sure you're not falling short, Because that will be considered, like I say again, that will be considered a hypocrite. You can't be, going to your brother about, man, you can't be eating pork, But then you up there, tearing it up, eating it almost every week. That will be going off, you know what I'm saying? So you have to come with a different, you got to come with a mindset of changing the ways of within yourself first before you can go to another brother. And that's renewing of your mind. Let's get that. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. Yeah, and that word renewing pretty much means renovation. It's just like when you buy a house and you have it for a certain amount of time, you say, oh, I want to renovate the kitchen. You're going to tear all that stuff out and you're going to come back in and you're going to renovate the kitchen. So that's the same thing with the when you come in this truth. Your spirit has to be built back up. You have to get rid of the old things, which is the old man, and you have to come with a renewing of your mind. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep on doing the same thing what people is doing in this world. So like I said again, Romans 12:2, let's read that again. And be not conformed to this world, because you don't want to be conformed to what this world is doing. You want to have you want to have a different mindset, when you come into this truth. You want to change as a person, You want to get rid of the things that you used to do, you know what I'm saying? And allow Yahweh Shema Shai to work on you, more and more. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed, the renewing of your mind. So the things that you used to do, you can't be doing anymore, you know what I'm saying? You have to change those things, that ye may prove what is good, and acceptable and perfect, the will of the Most High, because the Most High has to see what is good and acceptable and perfect through the things that you're doing. And that's all through, Yahweh Shema Shai, renewing your mind, changing your mind. Like I say again, a renovation, your spirit, And, pretty much we're supposed to be like Yahweh Shai in his image, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, is in you, except ye be reprobates. And like I said again, we have to examine ourselves every day, not just once a week or once a month. You have to do that every day. You have to make sure we are doing what is right. You got to make sure that you're on point, before you go to another brother, and that's especially being a part of the faith, you know what I'm saying? That has to be that has to be something on the forefront, that the Yahweh Shema Shai is guiding you and building your faith up, so you'll be able to do what's right, you know what I'm saying, in his eyes, And basically, I'm speaking about myself. I need to get on point, If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm going off, and I have to check myself, And that's real important, And I have to ask Yahweh Shema Shai to help me grow in certain areas that I'm struggling with, and I have to tell myself, get it together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's important. Let's go to Romans chapter 2, verse 21. Thou, therefore, which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself. Thou that preachest a man should not steal, thou dost thou steal. This is basically saying don't be the hypocrite, trying to tell another brother something, but you basically doing the same thing. You're not doing anything that's better than what the other brother is doing. So you want to definitely make sure that, you know what I'm saying, you doing what's pleasing to you. How about Shimei Shai? Verse 22. Thou that says a man should not commit adultery, thou commit adultery. Thou that abhorrest idols, thou that commit sacrilege. Slacky, I'm not sure if I pronounced that word right, but forgive me for that. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that word holy mean, I'm sorry, Slakia. Yeah, you want to definitely, you know, pretty much do what's right, you know, in our eyes. And if you look at it, I cannot tell a brother nothing, you know what I'm saying? I have to shut up and listen, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm new, I'm a little babe in this truth, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm an older gentleman, but hey, that's why you have to come in a humble spirit, you know, because that's important, you know. So like I said again, I can't say anything, you know. I have to, you know, come humble and want to learn, you know, and that's important. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. Put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long-suffering. Yeah. And that word, holy, means separate. Yeah, because every day you have to examine yourself. Key thing is making sure you praying to the Most High, you know what I'm saying? And asking Him for in the areas that you need to grow in, you have to pray. And ask Him for strength to grow you in those areas, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So it's important for me to go, like I said again, you know, I can't really say a whole lot because I'm new in this. I'm like a babe, so it's good for me to come to, you know, a younger brother and ask him for some guidance, you know. That's out of respect and being humble. And that's important, you know. To ask, you know, one of the, you know, younger brothers, you know, about this truth. So I can grow, you know what I'm saying? If it has anything to do with, you know, breakdown or anything about the history or, you know, or the Hebrew, you know what I'm saying? So it's parts, you know, where I'm, you know, coming to a brother because I know I need help, you know. And that's kindness, humbleness of mind, and meekness and long suffering, you know. And the one I need to come to even more is Yahushua, you know, praying to Yahushua, you know, because that's important, you know. So let's go to Sirach chapter 37, verse 19. There is one that is wise and teach many, and yet is unprofitable to himself. Yeah, you can be a good teacher, but you can also be unprofitable to yourself too. So examining yourself should be on the top of your list. And if you don't examine yourself and check yourself on the things that you're lacking, then that's not being, you know, humble. So you don't definitely want to go to another brother and, you know, questioning them about things that you're doing the same thing, you know. Especially if you newborn babe in this truth, you need to just shut up and listen, you know. And that's speaking first and foremost me, you know what I'm saying? Talking about me, you know. So I wanted to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 31. For if we will judge ourselves, we should not be judged. Yeah. So when you come in this truth, it's best to judge yourself in areas that you need to grow in. And like I said again, always pray to Yahweh Shem Shai in those areas that you're lacking in, that you need some guidance, you need some help, and also, like I said again, always examine yourself first before you examine someone else, especially if you new to this truth, most definitely, and come, and that's speaking for me, like I say again, and you got to come humble, in this truth, and lonely. So let's go to because Galatians 6 and 7, be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever a man sow, that shall he also reap. Yeah, because basically you got to get on your own self first. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High, you can't deceive the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And whatever you're doing is not lining up with the truth, and you're doing right, you're going to reap what you sow. So you want to be real mindful of what you're doing, and also going to another brother, telling him that he's going off. You got to check yourself first and examine yourself, because that's the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? And I want to close out on Sirach chapter 18, verse 20. Before judgment, examine thyself, and in thy day of visitation thou shalt find mercy. Yeah, because it's best to examine yourself now when you have, this grace period, you know what I'm saying? Because judgment is coming. And you want to ask Yahweh Shem Shai, that he find mercy, on you, and that's with speaking of me or any of the other brothers, you know what I'm saying? So it's important, that, we definitely do that, because Yahweh Shem Shai is definitely coming back. Yahweh Shai is coming back. Only the Father knows, Yahweh. But he's coming back to judge this place. And it's best to get yourself together. So, like I say again, examine yourself and check yourself. And that's speaking of me, first and foremost. So I hope this was lesson was edifying. This is your brother Dawadah. And I want to say Shalom, call Allah Yahweh Shem Shai by Shem Rakakadash. The honors to the apostles at Great Millstone that rule and teach well. To the Akims on the four corners of the earth, on the highways and the byways, teaching this truth in their lives. And the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification. Shalom.